Have asked Scott to pull up the first video. We have a short video here. It's kind of cartoonish, but it's quite informative and a little bit entertaining, maybe more entertaining than me. So Scott, if you pull that up, please.
When Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone in 1876, he designed it to do one thing: make phone calls.
Hello?
These days, it seems we use our phones for everything but phone calls. Today's phones are our text messengers, calculators, books, planners, navigators. When Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone in 1876, he designed it to do one thing: make phone calls.
Hello?
These days, it seems we use our phones for everything but phone calls. Today's phones are our text messengers, calculators, books.
Frozen.
What's frozen?
The video seems to be.
Wasn't a second ago. No, it seems to be on.
Okay, it's just frozen on this monitor.
No, it's still going. What is going on here? It's supposed to be playing. Okay, she's frozen on this monitor, but is you.
Planners, navigators, our cameras, music players, internet browsers, stock traders, even our flashlights. Phones evolved to include so many other useful features because we needed them to, yet we still just call them phones. This same evolution by necessity has happened with other products over the years, and life insurance is no exception. When life insurance was invented way back in the 1600s, it was also designed to do one thing: to financially protect your loved ones when your life is over. And like phones, life insurance evolved because we needed it to. With modern advancements in medicine, suffering a critical illness like a heart attack, stroke, or cancer diagnosis no longer necessarily means death. In fact, 90% of people who suffer a heart attack these days survive that event. That's where the new, evolved kind of life insurance policy comes in, one that adds living benefits. Living benefits policies are essentially the smartphones of life insurance. They allow your life insurance policy to not just be a parting gift, but also provide the ability to accelerate the death benefit if you suffer a critical, chronic, or terminal illness. This ability can help save your financial life by unlocking a whole new list of ways to use your policy while you're still living.
Hello?
And oftentimes, it does all of this at the same price as the old kind of life insurance. Living benefits protect you, your loved ones, and your wallet, not only in case you die, but also in case you don't. Two things always happen when you suffer a critical or chronic illness: your expenses go up and your income goes down. When your expenses get higher than your income, that's when debt begins to pile up. This is the exact trap that so many Americans are falling into every single day. In fact, 60% of all bankruptcies that occur in the U.S. are the direct result of a critical illness and the medical expenses that follow. With living benefits, the policyholder has the option to accelerate a portion of their death benefit to replace their income and help with those added expenses. These benefits are the difference between just surviving the illness and having a life afterwards. And the best part is, they come at no extra cost to the consumer. So what kind of life insurance is protecting your family? Your granddad's traditional death benefit only coverage?
I don't know if I'm hearing anything.
Or the new evolved life insurance with built-in living benefits? If you're still using the rotary phone of life insurance, maybe it's time for an upgrade.
Awesome. So the great video. It just kind of shares the information that, you know, things change. I mean, I'm 60 years old, and obviously, as that video shows, cell phones have changed quite a bit. Phones in general have changed tremendously in my lifetime. Things like cars have changed. I mean, when I was a kid, a lot of cars, you know, it was a add-on for seatbelts, and now cars have seatbelts all the time, airbags, safety features, all kinds of different safety features that come automatically. Uh, these living benefits have been around since 1998. I've been in the business for 25 years, and I just discovered them myself in 2013. So that tells you, me being in the industry and not knowing about them. Imagine how many people are not in the industry and don't know about them. So probably 90% of the people who have a life insurance policy today don't have living benefits. Currently, there's only about 5% of the companies that offer them, and all of them will eventually, because these things happen. As you saw in that video, 60% of bankruptcies are due to a critical illness. That's huge. So people aren't necessarily losing, going bankrupt, losing their homes and things necessarily due to a job, because sometimes they have that critical illness and then the job goes, when they can't work. So they get into financial trouble because the debt starts piling up. So you may not retire tomorrow, but you could possibly die or be diagnosed with a chronic or critical illness tomorrow, which makes having a living benefits life insurance plan part of a solid foundation to any financial plan. You have to start with the foundation when you're building something. One of the biggest things, statistics. Some people think, well, that I take care of myself, and I'm one of those people. I take pretty good care of myself physically, and maybe the likelihood of these things happening to me are a little bit less than for some. But a heart attack, happens every 34 seconds in the United States. Somebody has a heart attack. Years ago, when my grandpa died from a heart attack, he had a heart attack and he died. But today, the chance of survival of a heart attack is over 60%. So people are going to survive those things, but they don't always survive financially. The modern medicine helps us, but it costs, So, and then a stroke. Strokes happen every 40 seconds in the United States. And the chance of survival nowadays of that is 70%. So people are going to survive that, the health incident, but they're not always going to survive financially because of the costs that follow that. And then cancer, nowadays they say 1 in 3 people are going to be diagnosed with some kind of cancer. Some of the cancers, breast cancer, survival rates up around 90%. Prostate cancer, it's about 98%. So people are surviving those things at a much higher rate, but they're not always surviving financially because the costs of all the health care, the treatments and things like that, and all, people are having to pay their deductibles. It's a huge, huge burden on your finances. So living benefits is such an important part. And just kind of give you an overview of that. If you had, let's say you had a heart attack, depending on the severity of that heart attack, you could actually receive up to 90% of your death benefit. So if you had $1 million policy, you can get $900,000 in your family's hands at that time if you needed it. And if you have a severe enough heart attack, you're out of work for a while, so you're not getting paid. And the bills keep coming. The house payment, your health insurance, if you have health insurance, which 80% of those people, the 60% of bankruptcies, 80% of those people had health insurance. So the health insurance will pay, if you have good health insurance, it'll pay a large portion of the bills. But health insurance will not pay your house payment. It will not pay your car payment. It will not pay your kids' tuition. It will not pay for the food that you eat. It won't pay for your gas. It won't pay for utilities. So the money is crucial at that time that you have access to it. We have other ways of getting money. You can borrow it from your family. You can start a GoFundMe account. I see that all the time. And it's sad that for pennies, somebody could actually have protected themselves for that, so they don't have to reach out. There's so many GoFundMes that you see on Facebook and social media, people trying to raise money because somebody had cancer or somebody had a heart attack or somebody had a stroke, and they're trying to raise money for your family. And there's so many of them. I mean, I try to contribute to people. You know, if I know somebody or somebody I know knows somebody, I try to contribute. But there's so many of them that a lot of times people are unable to. I mean, you can only give so much. So if somebody protects himself in the beginning with, you know, pennies on the dollar, to have that protection in place, and it's amazing how little it costs. That's probably the biggest reason why people don't have life insurance, is because they overestimate the cost, you know, what it's going to cost. The younger you get it, the less it's going to cost. But the cost is usually, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've gone into a house and set up a family. They were paying more money for their cable internet than it costs for life insurance. And life insurance does a whole lot more for their family than cable or internet. I mean, it's, you know, it's kind of about choices, things that we have to decide are important to us. So, a heart attack, stroke, cancer, ALS, end-stage renal failure, motor neuron disease, organ transplant, blindness, cystic fibrosis. Those are all different things that are triggers that will allow you to access that money. And then, of course, with the chronic part of it, there's a chronic rider also. If you couldn't do 2 of the daily activities of living, you know, bathing, toileting, transferring, continence, those things that, you know, you just average everyday life. If you couldn't do 2 of those things, most people think of somebody being in a nursing home. Like my mom had Alzheimer's, and she kind of went down the list of those things that she couldn't do for herself. And if she would have had known about a plan like this, and she'd have had a plan like this, you can get a payment of up to 2% of that death benefit. So once again, $1 million policy, you could get $20,000 a month for up to 4 years, you know, to help pay for those things. And I know from dealing with my mom, it was about $7,000 a month for a nursing home, and that's not the most expensive nursing home. That's probably on the low end. So this is just giving you an access point for cash that you'll need if these things happen to you. And then the beauty of it, if you're with a permanent plan and you don't use it, you don't need it, then your family still gets the full death benefit. Or you can even build up cash value that you can turn on a stream of income for the rest of your life, tax-free. Those are different things that people aren't aware of, how life insurance works. I mean, it's probably one of the greatest tools in financial services field, and it's definitely one of the greatest tax advantage. You know, the tax laws in place allow you to access that money tax-free. So, and then of course the living benefits are tax-free and the death benefit is tax-free. So in today's world, I mean, right now we're in the 4th lowest tax bracket we've been in since the Depression. Taxes, you know, nowadays with all the things going on, taxes are not likely to go down. More likely they are to go up. Why not have things in place that will, you know, take care of your family that you don't have to pay taxes on? I mean, that's most of my clients that set up tax-free retirement plans with these life insurance plans. You know, they have, you know, if they're going to have 30% of their income or so at retirement that's tax-free, and that's a beautiful thing. So the living benefits, you know, like I said, is one of my passions. I carry with me everywhere that I go. I carry with me my actual policy, because I know that about 85% of agents or people in this field, you know, they'll talk to somebody about something being the best thing since sliced bread. You know, this is the best plan ever. But then ask them, you know, say, so is that what you have? Well, I was, like I said, I was in the business for quite a while before I discovered these living benefits. So I didn't have this before, but as soon as I discovered them, I have it. You know, I had, you know, replaced what I had with these living benefits because I'm a single guy, and you know, as far as the death benefit goes, there's nobody depending on me. although I have 43 nieces and nephews, and I have a little buddy who, I hope to do a lot of things for in the future, and that money would do good things for them, but it's not something that's necessary. There's not somebody who's completely depending on me. So the living benefits, I'm depending on them. If these things happen to me, if I had a heart attack, if I had a stroke, if I couldn't talk, I mean, what would I do? I couldn't make any money, and I have to be able to take care of myself. So I have the living benefits place to take care of me. So I share that with people because there's so many people that don't. They're saying this is great, but they don't have it. It's not great enough for them. So I carry that with me everywhere I go, so that people know that if it's important enough for me to have, then I'm not talking about something that's not good enough for me. It's definitely good enough for me. So it's good enough. Most people need those. I mean, really everybody needs living benefits. God willing, most people won't use them, but everybody needs to have them in place, because I mean, you can't drive a car today without an airbag in it or without seat belts. So why not have this safety feature in your life insurance policy that allows you that access? And the beautiful thing of it is it doesn't cost more than insurance without living benefits. It's just a safety feature that's there that allows you to access that money in case you need it. And it's a beautiful thing. So that's why living benefits is really one of my biggest passions of the things that we do, because I've seen so many. We have so many clients that have used them. We've had clients that were terminally ill that got the living benefits and were able to find alternative treatments that their insurance wouldn't cover, and then they survived. We've had clients that were able to extend their lives because of the money. We've had clients that were just able to take care of everything until they were able to work again. I mean, there's so many different situations, so many different stories of clients that have used these living benefits. Yes, I have more clients that haven't thus far, but of course I've only known about them since 2013. So I've only have maybe 300 or so people, 300 or 400 people that I've protected with living benefits thus far. But I'm just one of many people in Synergy Financial Partners. So we're just trying to get the word out about this program, the V.E.T.S, Veteran Entrepreneur Training System, because we want to help veterans to build that business. And today I'm just kind of highlighting one of the things that we do because it's powerful. I mean, what kind of a market do you have when 99% of the people don't have something that they need? So it's a great opportunity for veterans and for pretty much anybody from any walk of life, but veterans is who we're looking for right now, because they have a lot of skills that already in place from what they did previously. I mean, they definitely have the servant heart, and that's a big thing. And then of course leadership skills, communication skills, those are things that we need in this business. And so we're just looking for people that we can help do that. I've got another short video, a little bit longer than the last one, but I got another video that's a testimonial. That's one of my favorites, because Don, who's usually on the show here with me, it's actually one of his clients. And so he personally had to, go through the walk of helping this family use pretty much every aspect of a policy, every aspect of a permanent policy, from the tax-free retirement to all the way to the living benefits and unfortunately the death benefit. So Scott, if you could cue up that video, the Shannon Hay video, I'd appreciate it.
This is my living benefits story. Kevin and I met when he was in chiropractic school. Literally, it was from day one. We fell in love, and we've been together every day since. We just enjoyed each other's company, and we were best friends. We have 6 kids: Chrislyn, Caitlin, Cameron, Shaylin, Caden, and Ashlyn, and we live on beautiful 12 acres in White County.
My name is Don Rice. I'm from Canton, Georgia. I work with Synergy Financial Partners as a financial advisor. And what we do at Synergy Financial is we teach people how money works and also the power of living benefits.
We originally met Don Rice. He was a patient at our chiropractic office, a portable chiropractor in Woodstock, Georgia. Kevin was a friend to all of his patients, so they quickly became friends.
It just turned into where we would just, help each other. Anytime I was in pain, he would help me, and anytime he was in financial pain, he would give me a call, and we just worked together from there. You couldn't have known a better person.
So Kevin's office he ran by himself. He had no receptionist. He had no CA, chiropractic assistant, nobody. It was just him. People would come in, they sign in, they go to a table. When that table becomes available, the next person goes in. The practice grew so fast. We got to where we were seeing 300 or 400 or 500 patients a week. He was seeing about 100 people a day.
With him really running everything, if something were to happen to him, his business would be gone. As a small business owner, he didn't really have anything in place for himself as far as retirement. He was just building his business and planning on retiring that way. We went through all the benefits of the IUL, the loan provision, which allows you access to accumulated value. You have living benefits, and then you also have the death benefit that all of them would have at the end. Little did we know at the time that we would actually be using all of these benefits within about a 6-year period of time.
We had coverage set up from a previous agent, and Don helped us modify our plan to help us better. That modification allowed us to be where we are today.
Dr. Hay was 41 years old when we put this policy in place. Completely healthy, no issues whatsoever. The policy was put in place for tax-free retirement purposes. The first time he was able to utilize the benefits of his policy was when he was still healthy, and that was with the loan provision. He had accumulated enough money into his policy over the first few years that he was able to actually buy his office building. And that's one of the things that Shannon tells me all the time is she is so happy that she owns the building outright because it puts her in such a better position with the business and the practice as it is now. Life can be very unpredictable, and in this case, that actually proved to be true. Just a few years later, after we've put this policy in place, everything changed.
We had a time in February when we thought he had food poison. He needed to go get checked out. And the doctor called us back. My name is Shannon Hay, and this is my living benefits story. Kevin and I met when he was in chiropractic school. Literally, it was from day one. We fell in love, and we've been together every day since. We just enjoyed each other's company, and we were best friends. We have 6 kids, Chrislyn, Caitlin, Cameron, Shaylin, Caden, and Ashlyn, and we live on beautiful 12 acres in White County.
My name is Don Rice. I'm from Canton, Georgia. I work with Synergy Financial Partners as a financial advisor, and what we do at Synergy Financial is we teach people how money works and also the power of living benefits.
We originally met Don Rice. He was a patient at our chiropractic office, a portable chiropractor in Woodstock, Georgia. Kevin was a friend to all of his patients, so they quickly became friends.
It just turned into where we would just, help each other. Anytime I was in pain, he would help me, and anytime he was in financial pain, he would give me a call, and we just worked together from there. You couldn't have known a better person.
So Kevin's office he ran by himself. He had no receptionist. He had no CA, chiropractic assistant, nobody. It was just him. People would come in, they sign in, they go to a table. When that table becomes available, the next person goes in. The practice grew so fast. We got to where we were seeing 300 or 400 or 500 patients a week. He was seeing about 100 people a day.
With him really running everything, if something were to happen to him, his business would be gone. As a small business owner, he didn't really have anything in place for himself as far as retirement. He was just building his business and planning on retiring that way. We went through all the benefits of the IUL, the loan provision, which allows you access to accumulated value. You have living benefits, and then you also have the death benefit that all of them would have at the end. Little did we know at the time that we would actually be using all of these benefits within about a 6-year period of time.
We had coverage set up from a previous agent, and Don helped us modify our plan to help us better. That modification allowed us to be where we are today.
Dr. Hay was 41 years old when we put this policy in place. Completely healthy, no issues whatsoever. The policy was put in place for tax-free retirement purposes. The first time he was able to utilize the benefits of his policy was when he was still healthy, and that was with the loan provision. He had accumulated enough money into his policy over the first few years that he was able to actually buy his office building. And that's one of the things that Shannon tells me all the time is she is so happy that she owns the building outright because it puts her in such a better position with the business and the practice as it is now. Life can be very unpredictable, and in this case, that actually proved to be true. Just a few years later, after we've put this policy in place, everything changed.
We had a time in February when we thought he had food poison. He needed to go get checked out. And the doctor called us back and told us to meet in his office, and that's when they told us they found a tumor. Within just a few days, we found out it was cancer. He had colorectal cancer.
I had went into his office that day and was just there to get adjusted, and it came up. He just mentioned to me that he had just been diagnosed. That's where the living benefits really come in. The fact that he had that critical illness rider, and when he was diagnosed with cancer, we were able to accelerate that death benefit and actually put over $600,000 worth of living benefit in his hand as peace of mind.
I asked him to stop working. Our main focus was him healing during that time. We were able to hire a chiropractor to come in the office. We were able to hire receptionists to take over and handle our finances at the office at the time. We weren't used to paying 2 salaries, and that money had to come from somewhere. And luckily, we were able to use the living benefits policy to do that.
One of the big benefits of the living benefit was actually giving him peace of mind on how he used the money.
We did a lot of research on natural cancer treatments. There were several alternative treatments that without the living benefits policy, we never would have been able to afford. We had a dream always of having a big barn building for the kids to play in. We got the barn finished on September 2nd. So September 18th, sometime during the night that night, he woke up and talked to me for the last time. That conversation that night let me know that we were at the end. As soon as I got up the next morning on the 19th, I called the kids and I said, "You need to come and you need to be prepared." I called Don, and he came right away.
As an agent, it's always hard when you lose a client. It really is. But this was even more so, just because he was such a good friend of mine. He has 6 kids. So that was huge, being able to walk in, hand them that check, not just condolences. The family was able to receive over $1 million worth of death benefit to continue his legacy into the future. It paid for their house. It paid for an entire farm, and they've built a barn in their home and everything on that farm. So just seeing them every day there and knowing what he was able to put in place, that legacy he was able to build, it's a wonderful thing.
Not every day's easy. Most days are hard. But we have a lot to be thankful for. We really have a lot to be thankful for. We were actually able to bury Kevin out here on the farm. We created our own graveyard cemetery, and we can see him anytime we want. It's just nice to have him close. The very best part of all this is that from this day forward, my kids are all taken care of. Their future is set. They have trust funds set up. They have life insurance policies set up with living benefits.
Dr. Hayes' case really shows the versatility of the IUL as an asset class. It was actually able to be what he needed to be when he needed it. While he was healthy, he was able to use the loan provisions in order to grow his business, as well as setting up a tax-free retirement plan for himself. When he did get sick, he was able to use the living benefit portion in order to keep his business running and give him peace of mind to have cash in hand in order to pay for medical expenses, things like that. And then when he did finally pass away, he was able to keep his business running for his family and also provide cash for the legacy to help move his family into the future.
I personally have my own living benefits policy now. I have one on each of my children at this point. You just don't know what tomorrow brings. And in those times, it's just awesome to know if something were to happen, I could pick up the phone and call Don and he'd be there with a check. We have the honor of him being our friend outside of just being our agent.
Just being there and able to serve them that way, it makes what I do every day the best thing in the world.
That video always chokes me up. Anyway, today, thank everybody for watching today. Thank you, and if you would please share this with anybody that you know. If you know any veterans, if you are a veteran, please feel free to reach out to myself or Don if you still have this information. But mine should be up on the screen in just a second here. rick.mertell@gmail.com. My number's 314-497-6854. And you can go to my website at rickmertell.com, and you can see those videos and quite a few more. So please share this information. We're just really trying to help some veterans that are transitioning, help them to start their own businesses, and we appreciate all the help that you can give us. Everybody have a great weekend, and look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you, Scott.